The Catholic Underground is only possible through your prayer and financial support. Please go to CatholicUnderground.com and click the Donate tab to find out how you can help us out. Enjoy the episode.
From the Catholic Underground.
Well, hello there. Welcome to CatholicUnderground.com, your Catholic guide to the digital continent. I'm Father Chris Decker. Alongside of me over there, Joshua LeBlanc. Hello, Joshua.
Hello, everyone.
And, of course, we have to tell you that Father Ryan is here, too. It's actually state law where we are. That's Father Ryan. Hi, Father. How are you?
Hi, I'm fine. It's depressing to be in this dungeon, but I'm here.
Father Ryan comes to us from a specifically bad internet connection, but we do what we can, right?
It's an epically bad internet connection. So bad.
Now, Father, you actually we're told that your internet is about to get better, possibly, right?
Yeah, I've been on the phone with them pretty vigorously, and they informed me, we're building it on the other end of the road, and once we get to you, we're not sure we're actually going to run it to your house, but we're building it.
That's nice of them. That's very nice of them.
That's just super good.
Get a long Cat 5 cable.
Just run it out to the road, and it would be fine. That's right. Yes.
Yeah.
So you'll notice that we are missing our two shot of all of us. I mean, we have Joshua, myself, and Father Ryan, but we don't have the other one because, well, we ran out of time before show prep because Joshua has been actually doing his job today,
Mostly.
as a professional computer person, and I've been with him. So
I'm fixing the things he's broken.
well, that's actually very true. That's true. Yeah. Speaking of things that are broken, OS 10 Lion, anyone?
Yeah, it's not good.
First of all, I went to install it, and it actually failed twice before it would do an install.
It failed twice?
Yeah, it failed. I got a message that came up and said, your install has failed. And so it said, do you want to try again? So I told it to try again. Then I got another message saying, your install failed. Would you like to reboot to continue? And then when it rebooted, it finally magically installed.
Really? Father Ryan, did you have any trouble installing OS 10?
Well, downloading 4.5 gigabytes over a bad connection was something not pleasant. But no, once I got it, it was all fine.
Oh, good. Very good. Well, yeah, I actually had no problem with it. I left for a little bit and came back, and it was working okay. One of the things that I'm still trying to get used to is the scrolling, because what's up is down, what's down is up. You would know that Steve Jobs would make up down and down up. It seems somehow godlike for him to change the law of gravity on my trackpad.
Well, I was reading actually, allegedly in Google Chrome, the scrolling works normally.
Oh, well, I don't think so.
Well, you can actually change it.
Oh, okay.
I changed it in the settings, trackpad settings, and it goes away. And I'm using the old method because there's nothing natural about it. I put on Google Chrome, or I put on Google Plus, that it's about as natural as New York's latest marriage law.
Well, I've been reading that allegedly the rationale behind that is because on your iOS devices, when you want to scroll down, you actually scroll up, and so they're trying to make the same thing happen on the Macs.
Yeah, I get that, but it would be different if I were actually touching the screen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the metaphor changes. You feel like it's a piece of paper in your hand, but when you're using a device that's physically separate from the screen, it just doesn't.
Yeah,
it doesn't feel right.
Well,
It's very awful.
I will say at least they didn't go the way of the iPad whenever they did the horizontal and vertical rotation switch and decided not to give you an option. At least they've given you an option. So
that's true.
Right.
They did. Yeah, they gave an option. In fact, right now on the show, I am changing.
I'm watching you do it.
Yeah, because
It's so miserable.
it won't let me do anything.
Good Lord, go to System Preferences trackpad. Do it. Go fast.
Okay, and I want to do.
See, Father Earthman's with us. He's in the chat room, and he's complaining too.
It's just weird.
if you give me a touchscreen online, then no problem. But see, I don't even know if I'd want to hold my gigantic, gorgeous 27-inch monitor.
And I'm watching all this horrible video that's slowing my computer down. I can't do anything.
No, that brings up a good question, Father Ryan. Apple's done this, and Father Earthman makes the comment about if you give me a touchscreen line, then no problem.
Yeah.
Could this be leading towards possible tablets from Apple that are running full Mac OS 10?
Yeah, I guess it's possible. I have to wonder, though, how many people really want that, other than a few very intense, kind of like your Linux crowd who want Android tablets. Even Android goes out of its way to hide most of its settings.
Yeah.
I've got to wonder how
most
many
OSs
people,
do.
Yeah, I'm going to have to wonder how many people want a full OS in their hand when you're not talking about a real keyboard and stuff like that. I don't think that the market for the laptop can realistically disappear. And certainly not with this operating system. I mean, this is not intended to be a game changer, but there were some philosophical changes that, I don't get because they just don't make a lot of sense. And you can see how they make sense in the mind of the Steve.
Yeah.
But I don't.
Well, that's how scrolling works in his brain. It's natural.
Maybe, when Steve wants to make a video, Steve calls somebody and says, "Make me a video and a sandwich." He doesn't sit down at his computer and make a video.
He doesn't even put on his own turtlenecks.
It's just not the way it works, And so you need kind of real people in the real world saying, this is stupid, right? It doesn't work, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I would like somebody to make me a sandwich, though.
Well, we know wouldn't be the first time that if something doesn't work, Apple kind of gives in. I mean, we've seen that with the whole the recently the in-app purchases regarding subscriptions, how Apple said this is what we're going to do, and everybody just kind of revolted. So maybe, I'm hoping some things do get fixed. I mean, I know Father Chris was having problems today with Vimeo.
Yeah, in fact, all of the video on my computer is running slow.
And strangely on mine, which is a 3-year, older than that. Yeah. Mine's a 2006 Mac, yours is a 2011. Mine video is fine.
Yeah, so there you go. I don't even know what to make of that. Yeah, let's see. Things that I do like, because we don't want to hate online because it has been given to us by Steve.
It's come down from the Steve.
That's right. Yeah. I do like the new mail settings, the new mail client. I actually do like that.
It feels like Sparrow, huh? I like it. It's okay.
It does. It feels like on the iPad, and I like the iPad mail experience.
Yeah, it's going to take me a little while to get used to it, I think. I do like the fact, though, that you can click unhide, and it brings you back to your normal boxes that you had before.
I like the fact that, because I'm an email hoarder, and so, everything that I possess by email, I follow these conversations in my head, and whereas I just had a little highlight, now a whole conversation is there. Yeah. And I do find that really, really helpful.
You see, I, on the other hand, I hate whenever bringing up an email and I get all of the 1,800 that came before it from the same person. It drives me crazy. But, having the unified inbox, sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't. It may just be the laziness in me, but whenever I open up an email, I don't want to have to look and see, okay, who was this? What account was this sent to again? And try and figure it out. I always, on my Mac, I've always just gone and unified inbox. But if I want to, check just a specific email account, go to it. And so I don't know. I'm going to take me some getting used to, I think.
Yeah. Well, and then Father, I don't know. Have you tried the new iCal yet?
I haven't even opened it.
I'm going to have to try it now.
I'm opening it right now, though. I do like the fact that,
he doesn't like it.
There's your first impression there. It's kind of dirty and gross.
Well, it looks just like the iPad.
Yeah. Well, actually, it looks like you were walking into some, old PI's office.
Yeah.
That's
right. And there are torn pages everywhere.
Yeah, it's rancid. But I do like the Finder, which has 64-bit architecture, which is nice because I move a lot of big files around, and it's much sharper than that. Of course, when iCloud shows up, everything's going to be much better because it's going to really make a very smooth experience between the phone, iPad, and iMac, and that, of course, makes I happy.
Yeah. I mean, my biggest issue in iCal was the fact that, and I don't know if this is anybody else's experience or if I've just done it wrong, having been a person who was using a PC and I could just subscribe to Google Calendars and would update automatically and everything, I've never been able to get iCal to to do that. And that's been my big issue is that, for example, looking at my iCal right now, what it did is it subscribed and copied everything, but it's never updates. It's like it just made a copy. So I'm hoping they kind of fix that.
So your sync thing doesn't work? Is that what
No,
you're
I
saying?
can never get it to sync.
Oh, well.
I mean, I have it sitting up here, and I have to force it to sync. It's not like it does it automatically.
Yeah, I guess another thing that I do like, of course, is the price. The
Oh,
price is
yeah,
good.
$30.
It can't be bad. Can't be bad.
Well, and you can install on 5 machines for that price, especially because if you're downloading it through the App Store, which is the only way to get it right now, you can install that on up to 5 machines because you can connect that account.
Hold on,
to
let me
5
count.
devices.
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I can do that.
Otherwise, you got to get another Apple ID.
Yeah, which I guess isn't
I
terrible.
think they need to up that. I think that's just my opinion. 5 devices sometimes is very difficult, seeing as though both me and Annie share the same iTunes account.
And so you do.
I mean, I've got a Mac Mini in the living room. I've got my Mac, my Mac laptop. I've got my PC laptop. I've also got one in my office. She's got a netbook. I mean, you had the 5 machines right there.
Yeah, there it is. So let's see. Anything else? Apple had their biggest earnings report, and basically they're the second richest company in, I guess, the USA.
Yeah, I think
probably
the
not
first
the
is
world.
Walmart.
Yeah. Well, of course it would have to be.
No, actually, I think the only one above them is ExxonMobil.
Oh,
Really?
Maybe, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I think they passed up Walmart.
Oh, wow.
my goodness. Well. So now let's think about that for a second. The fact that a petroleum company is the leader, and second to the petroleum company is this technology giant Apple.
Yeah.
Do you think that there could be a bubble burst at some point?
Well,
Oh,
if
absolutely,
Steve,
without question.
if Steve Jobs starts charging $3.69 a gallon, then maybe so.
As we're gonna start charging apps by the gallon. That would be it. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
start writing by lines of code.
That's
Yeah,
right.
That's right.
Well, if you're joining us, Father Ryan's video seems to have gone the way of many extinct creatures. So we're going to keep him in audio.
Yeah, the button's grayed out completely at this point. So
That's right. There's no luck for you there in Campy, Louisiana. In fact, I'm going to change your little byline here if you're watching us on the video. And sorry to all of you who are actually on the audio only, because I know that it's really confusing for me whenever I listen to podcasts and they're talking about all these things that are happening on the screen. And
You can't see it.
right. So
Well, one thing you can see is if you've been to Google today, you see that the Google page has changed.
It has now, and this is different than doing your personalized Google page.
That's right. You know how Google likes to change their search
they're
page.
doodles. Yeah.
That's
right.
right. Doodles for important occasions, and today's one of those, isn't it, Father Ryan?
Yeah, actually, this was one of the weirdest coincidences. This morning when I got up, I actually was thinking about Gregor Mendel.
Who wasn't?
That happens to me some mornings.
But I was thinking about how, I was thinking about the news and the media, and I said, I bet that a lot of people in the news, if they talked about genetics, they would ignore the fact that Gregor Mendel was a priest. And I sit down at my computer, and the doodle is pea plants. And I said, what? And I realized today is Gregor Mendel's 189th birthday. And, Gregor Mendel, for those who remember, is the famous monk who developed the pea plant experiment and was able to basically be the father of genetics and the Mendel squares and all the other little basic things we know, which has become such a fundamental part of medicine and everything else. It's a gigantic, I don't even know what I'm trying to say. It was a big deal at the time, and it remains a big deal today, as that science becomes more and more important.
Yeah, I mean, especially to kind of put the little Catholic spin on it, if you want, especially when we look about how important genetics is in determining what is moral and what is immoral.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you have to wonder, where would we have been had Gregor Mendel not made the discovery? I mean, can you imagine still thinking of the human genome, or really the genome of anything, as just simply a mystery that cannot be known? And so, even in the terms of dealing with sicknesses, illnesses, and things like that, we would still be where they were at the turn of the first millennium.
Right.
Well,
the thing that comes to my mind as well is, I've been reading a lot on Einstein lately. I'm just fascinated by Einstein. And, his work in the bomb in the Manhattan Project.
Mhm.
I mean, you have the two radical extremes. On the one end, you have the work Einstein's doing is totally revolutionizing our understanding of the universe,
Right.
and it makes possible MRI machines, X-ray machines, all kinds, even PET scans, which use antimatter to look into your head.
Yeah.
But at the other side of things, you've got millions of people being destroyed in an instant. Mental's in the same boat. On one hand, you've got cancer research and modern medicine, and so much to do with the health of our kids.
Right.
But on the other hand, then you have eugenics, you have Planned Parenthood, you have so many vile, evil things that are being done around the world that come down to the question of geneticists and doctors trying to play God.
That's right.
And so it's an interesting day and a day to remind ourselves, that there's some things are potentially very good, but they're also potentially very dangerous.
That's right, and it is eugenics that brings us Khan in a couple of years, of course, who is of a race of superhumans that will overtake us all and then be exiled on the SS Botany Bay to City Alpha 5. So I'm just you got to watch out for that.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's.
I was waiting for him to do that.
Yeah, I didn't know how allowed to shout.
Trying to work it in, because I don't have the audio set for a Kirk style screen.
We'll punch that in. It's no problem. Just
out
punch
for
it in.
me.
That's right. Well, now we could go Shapew because the people of Denver are probably saying that now, not out of frustration, but out of sadness, because Archbishop Chaput is now the Archbishop of Philadelphia. And it was interesting to follow that this week because our guy Rocco over at the Whispers in the Loggia, there's some question as to whether or not he got it right.
Yeah, there is some question because I had a couple of. There were actually apparently, from what I understand, two different schools that were both hearing different things.
Mm-hmm.
Some were saying Archbishop Chaput was going to be going, and some were saying Bishop Galante was going to be named. And some pointed out to me that from what Rocco was saying, it appeared that he believed that Galante was going to be appointed. But then when the news came out, I thought it funny, Rocco post. I kept this quiet even though because I was told I was supposed to.
Right.
But it was difficult holding on to this since Friday, which kind of is a little interesting if the things he were posting was pointing towards Galante.
What were you holding on to exactly?
Yeah, right.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
But I certainly know that the people of Denver must be very sad. I mean, Archbishop Chaput has been there since 1997, and this is a very interesting appointment in the church because it's not often that you have someone who has been an archbishop who gets appointed to another archiepiscopal see. And when you do so, that really means that this individual has done an outstanding job. I mean, he's been there since 97. That's around 14 years he's been in Denver.
Yeah.
Young man, he's only 66 years old, be heading over to Philly, which means that gives him a good 9 years there as archbishop and soon to be cardinal archbishop, no doubt.
Yeah, and so the question is, I mean, what has he done in Denver? I mean, think about the things that's happened.
Yeah, I mean,
he turned the seminary around.
He turned the seminary around. World Youth Day came while he was archbishop there. It's been amazing.
Yeah, I know a lot of some of the seminarians in the Archdiocese of Denver, and they're very, very pleased with him. And of course, the seminarians that also had the opportunity to be invited to attend Saint Jean Vianney Seminary were very excited as well. So, Father, do you know of any other groundbreaking things that he's done?
The Chaput, besides being a big time author, and of course, we talked about that. Chaput is also responsible for the Toowoomba incident. If you remember, he was one of the ones who was sent down to Australia to investigate.
Toowoomba.
That's right.
Yeah, Toowoomba. He also was a major player in the Legionaries of Christ debacle, and was sent there to help them get their act together, so to speak. Of course, now that he sits as what amounts to being the traditional primate of the United States, he'll certainly be sitting on some other, probably 2 or if not 3 councils and commissions in Rome and the Curia as well.
Yeah, do you see Cardinal Chaput in our future?
Oh, unquestionably.
Yeah.
Unquestionably. I think it's a big deal of a lot of different levels, and of course we talked about some of them, but I think it's a big deal that the Pope is showing that he wants he wants pastoral men, and not in the vague sense, but he wants Capuchin friars. He wants religious men. He wants people who actually know real people, not people who have spent their entire lives as candid lawyers sitting in an office somewhere, writing papers, but people who know what it's like to sit in somebody's house, drink their coffee, and listen to their woes. That's a gigantic issue, and I think a lot of people don't realize how many of the major players of the last 40 years have never done that. They've been lawyers or politicians or whatever else who have been become bishops and archbishops, and they never really sat down with real people. And that's had a real effect on the church.
Well, that's
certainly seen that. In the abuse issues.
That's an excellent point, Father Ron. I mean, because for a long time, I think we all know that what was happening is you had bishops who were being made bishops, and as priests, they had no pastoral experience whatsoever, as you point out. They went from individuals who were ordained, and then they were sent off for studies, and then when they came back, they were immediately pointed to positions of rectors of seminaries or something like that, and then they stayed there for 5 years and then made bishops. And so you don't, when you're that sort of situation and you don't know how to pastorally lead people, you may be a good administrator for the most part, but how do you connect with the people? And that was really what so many people connected with John Paul II for, was because he was a great people person. I think that's because he had that pastoral experience. And so when you see individuals like Archbishop Chaput, who is certainly one of my favorite bishops in the United States, and also, again, you talked about the Capuchin, him being a Capuchin. We have Cardinal O'Malley in New York. I mean, Cardinal O'Malley in Boston. You have now Philadelphia, and also on the same day, he appointed a Capuchin priest who's living in Atlanta as Bishop of Savannah. So two Capuchins the same day. I think that really says something about what the Holy Father is thinking, because when you look at the early history of the church, it was a lot of religious priests who were the bishops.
And many of them who went to become bishops without really wanting to do it. I think that's a certain part of the equation. Bishop, or now Archbishop-elect Chaput, certainly was clear that this was not something he was shopping for. He's not, super excited about sitting behind the desk to go through bureaucracy. And in fact, the National Catholic Bishop actually did a fairly good interview with him. It was John Allen. And he said the main thing on his mind, the most frightening thing for him, is sitting in that office so far away from real people, and much of that needing to be done. It's not something you can just toss in somebody else's desk. That's a real concern for him. That gives me a lot of confidence in the man. I know that I don't really want to be a bishop because I don't want to sit at a desk.
Yeah, I think it's a wonderful thing. I mean, it's going to be great to see what he does as Archbishop of Philadelphia, because as you pointed out, that see. I don't know if it's so much the see as it was Cardinal Regali, who had so much influence in the United States, especially when it came to who was made bishop where. And at least that's the rumors, that Archbishop Regali had a lot of clout with regards to that. So it'd be interesting to see what's going on in the diocese, the Archdiocese of Philadelphia, especially since that diocese and as well as Boston are two dioceses that were really so hardly hit with scandal. That I think Archbishop Chaput is a good man who people can really connect with and see that it's not just someone trying to sweep something under the rug. It's someone who genuinely cares.
Yeah. Well, I think it's exciting too when you start realizing who the major archbishops are in the United States now. You're looking at Bishop Gomez, almost certainly soon to be Cardinal Gomez, out in the West. You're looking at Archbishop Chaput and Archbishop O'Malley up north. You're looking at Cardinal DiNardo down south. You're looking at Cardinal Wuerl, Dolan. These are extremely pastoral men. I don't know how much experience, whether Archbishop Wuerl was one who was kind of a curial bishop or not. But I mean, basically what you're looking at are very sound, but also very seriously considerate and down-to-earth men who are going to be the pastors and the ones running the Catholicism in this nation for the next 20 years. And that should provide a lot of hope, no matter how bad anything else might look.
And I think it's going to be great to see. Now, the one thing that nobody's really thought of yet is who's going to now go to Denver.
That's right.
I think-
Denver's a choice place now.
I would love to see someone like Bishop Olmsted or Bishop Finn, possibly. I don't know if that's going to be the case, but certainly someone who has that kind of caliber really needs to follow someone like Archbishop Chaput.
I think so. Well, we'll see. Yeah. We'll see. Any bids? What do you think? Nothing.
Oh,
okay.
on the name of who's going there?
Yeah. Who would you put there?
Slightest clue.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Anyway, we're going to leave that. We're going to leave that up to you all and the Holy Spirit.
Because why not?
That's right. If you're watching us in the video, I was away for a moment because the only way I can get Father Ryan on the screen is by putting him in the Google Hangout. So
you made it work?
No, you made it work. I don't know how it works, but your video in Google Hangout for some reason tonight is better than Skype ever was.
Wow.
I don't understand
that makes me very happy. We can't always do a private hangout. Well, let's not talk about it now. Yeah, it looks like it'd be cool.
There you go. Anyway, so in other news, the Vatican has stripped the media group International Catholic Union of the Press of its Catholic label. So now they're just Union of the Press. And which kind of takes some of the wind out of your sails, I guess, if you're reporting on things about the church. And I guess that opens up once again the both the risk and the responsibility that comes with having Catholic in your title. I mean, we even worried about that a good deal whenever we spoke about Catholic Underground.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I think the question arises that, I mean, generally what seems to happen is bishops don't mind. I mean, I know under the Code of Canon Law you're supposed to have, you're not necessarily supposed to have the bishop's permission, but you're supposed to notify him and you have to be recognized to claim that you are Catholic. That really only means that what you're saying is truly representative of what the church teaches. But it seems like most bishops don't generally have a problem or don't say anything. As long as you are, crossing your T's, dotting your I's, making sure that what you are teaching is authentic. And when you step over that line, like it seems that they have done here, then they are quick to react and quickly to pull that name Catholic in order to defend and sanctify. Which
is important, and to govern. I mean, part of a bishop's role is to govern, and that's part of governance, I suppose. So that's that happened, and it's a risk in new media to make sure that we are in communion with our Holy Father and with Jesus Christ whenever we speak.
Yeah.
From in the non-Catholic realm, but Christian, I found out about this since I didn't go to a secular college. I didn't know really much about it, but the Campus Crusade for Christ. Now, Father, you went to LSU. For a little while, so you had a little, perhaps a little experience with that on campus, or did you?
Oh yeah, huge amounts of experience with them, and very much like a lot of decentralized groups, they were really great to work with. The ones at LSU, my understanding though is that 3 years before they had different leadership and they were miserable to work with. But I was very very happy with the Campus Crusade, and they were they tried very hard to be kind of non-denominational and. I was very into the charismatic renewal at the time, so it was a very smooth fit. We just didn't do a lot of doctrine. We got together, we did prayers and worship, and that was that, and it was great.
Well, now the Campus Crusade for Christ is changing its name, and the reason it's changing its name is to, as they say, to overcome existing barriers and perceptions inherent from the original name. So, Campus Crusade for Christ is simply going to be known as Cru. Not J. Crew, Jesus' crew, but
2 Live Crew.
That's right. Not 2 Live Crew, but it's going to be known as Cru. We'll put that in the show notes. If you go to ccci.org, you can see the press release. So the idea is that they want to remove the name Crusade because it seems that overseas the crusade has a negative connotation. It
seems like the whole Kentucky Fried Chicken just calling itself KFC, and we're not going to be called Kentucky Fried Chicken anymore. So
that's right. Yeah. It's CRU Crew. Yeah.
When I was, they didn't call them. They called it like C3.
C3.
Campus Crusade for Christ.
Yeah. So if you get angry, you're PO'd at C3, so that'll be a C3 PO.
I'm still trying to figure out how Crusade offends people.
Well, I guess if you're a Muslim,
Muslims have crusade.
They do presently. Even maybe see that's one of my things is a crusade. if it is enacted for the right purpose, namely the defense of one's faith, and of course we would believe that is the Christian faith, then a crusade is a very good thing.
Yes.
You know, and so in a sense, it seems like a kind of a nominalist redaction trying to overcome a connotation that is kind of lopsided. I don't know, Father, does this seem like something that's a good idea, or?
You know, the Campus Crusade for Christ was always famous for not giving in to the culture. And
this seems like a give-in, doesn't it?
Seems like an act of cowardice. You know, I mean, oh, well, some people are offended. Well, Jesus is going to offend some people because you're saying that the God you worship, whether that God is Allah or Yahweh or you, you know, that God is not acceptable. And there's one true God, and He ain't it. And let me tell you about who He is. And I don't know that, and I could be wrong, but it seems like an act of cowardice.
Yep.
And I would seriously wonder what the leadership is like at CCC International.
Yeah, and it's kind of, I mean, a crusade by its very nature is not cowardly.
No,
you know,
it's an act of great courage.
Yeah, it's almost, it's kind of the Girl Scoutification, I think, of what is generally what I find or have found is a pretty good movement. You know, many folks have come back to the Catholic faith through the Campus Crusade for Christ.
And even if you decide that you don't want the name Crusade in your name, come up with something better than Crew.
Yeah.
Really.
Well, it's hip.
You've got to have Jesus there. Why wouldn't you have Christ in there? You know, I mean,
Right.
What possible reason is there to have a name that doesn't include Christ?
Well, they do have a standard issue in their logo, a standard issue mostly formed cross.
Yeah.
Or a Houston intersection.
That's right, or a Houston intersection, because part of it is red and part of it is orange, which means that the traffic is really bad either way.
But then, I mean, then basically you just say pick whatever random mainstream denomination of Christianity, which is dying rapidly, you'd like, and then you also have some vague semblance of a cross there. You know, Methodist, Presbyterian, take your pick. I don't know. I'd like to know what happened to the leadership here, because this is not indicative of what I knew until quite recently.
That's right. Yeah. So we'll see where it goes. But one of the things that we are doing that's very Catholic, that we haven't changed the name of, it's still the same.
That's right.
Is the Catholic New Media Awards. You've been waiting for it. Well, now is the time, isn't it, Josh?
That's right. We went live on Friday morning, this past Friday morning, with the launch of this year's Catholic New Media Awards. Nominations are being accepted now until August 1st. So go ahead and head on over to CatholicNewMediaAwards.com. Click on the Nominate a Site tab at the top and nominate your sites for the different categories. We did add a few categories new this year. One of them is Best Microblog. So essentially anything which is character limiting, that doesn't require you to sign up or be their friend or anything like that, qualifies for that.
So if it's character limiting, can Father Ryan have his own? I mean, you know, he has limited character, so
yeah. I have the opposite of limited character. I have excess of character.
Basically,
I have to drastically reduce it for the show.
You have to fit it in that little box, that 16 by 9 box.
Trouble.
Yeah,
we had this conversation. You called and sat me down. Wow. I'm living my character.
Wow. So we're basically focusing on Twitter, if you haven't figured that out.
Yeah.
Or Tumblr. You know,
or Tumblr. Tumblr.
Microplogs on Tumblr.
Tumblr. So, and then August 1st, of course, through the 26th is going to be the voting period, and with the nominations, or should I say rather, the winners being announced at Catholicon.
That's right. So this is something that's new. The winners will be announced at Catholicon,
Correct.
not on the website.
Not before that.
And
it will
not
appear on the
before.
website after the fact, but if you want to find out who is going to be the first winners before anyone else does, get your Catholicon tickets, CatholiconExpo.com. You have already missed that July 15th deadline, unfortunately.
That's right. The July 15th deadline had $35 tickets,
That's right.
and then July 15 passed, and now the tickets are
$50.
$50 American dollars.
That's still a good price.
Which is a good price. And you know, there are many conferences that you can go to for business or
That's right.
even faith-based things and you're going to be paying a little bit more.
Yeah,
actually, quite a bit more.
Some conferences charge you $200-$300 for an entire weekend. The conference is going to be $50 for the entire weekend. That includes all of the sacred liturgies. That includes all of the different speakers we're going to have. And then, of course, there is the great 4-star hotel, the Intercontinental Hotel near the Galleria, $99 a night.
Now, how long is the $99 a night thing?
You have to have your rooms booked by August the 5th.
So by August the 5th, that's just in a couple of weeks.
That's it, in just a couple
3
of
weeks.
Yeah. So if you're joining us for Catholicon, and we know that you are, your rooms need to be booked at that $99 rate.
Yeah, because after that,
August 5th.
they're going to go up to $150.
Which is still not bad,
Nope, not
considering
bad.
that's like a $250 a night hotel. So
Yeah, exactly.
so get them hotel rooms now, and we hope to see you there. I know I'm excited about that. Let's see, as we roll on the podcast here, Father, we haven't done this in a while, and so what we're going to do maybe is take a little bit of a break, and then come in for some back chat, and of course our CU picks of the week. So stay right where you are. We're not going anywhere. We don't think you should either. Alrighty, welcome back to CatholicUnderground.com, which is your Catholic guide to the digital continent. I'm Father Chris Decker, alongside of me, Joshua LeBlanc, and over in the Google Hangout, we've got Father Ryan Humphreys. Hello, Father.
Howdy, how you doing?
And let's see, we've also got some other people. There's some graphics in the way here, but can you introduce some of the faces that we see here in the Google Hangout? Hold on, I'm going to try and
there are
mouse
two Father
over.
Chris Deckers. One of them is magically putting my face on the screen, and there's you, Father Corey. I think it's Stitcha. Who is coming to us, I believe, from, is it Great Falls, I believe?
Unfortunately, he doesn't have any audio, so he can't answer you because we don't have that interfaced in yet.
Thing.
But
Jason Elizondo, who is himself a podcaster, it's something with a dog theme, isn't it? The dog of some sort involved in your podcast?
He's going to have to type it because...
Yeah, we're having serious audio and video problems.
Austin Catholic New Media.
From Google. And of course, Father Michael Earthman has appeared as if by an act of magic.
He even faded in. He faded from the black.
Wow.
Fading in.
That's very cool.
And so there he is. And we have an interesting group in the podcast. We're hoping at some point be a position where we can actually, if you have a comment, we can, load you up and let you share your comment live on the show. Catholic Warthog is Jason Elizondo does. Catholic Warthog.
That's right. That's his podcast.
He's also the one we talked about Austin CNMI website about 5 episodes ago, and Jason's the one who handles that. But at some point, we'd like to be able to make Google Hangouts, which allows up to 10 people to be at one time, become really kind of an interaction, which would be a neat thing to do. So I think we're kind of first to the call here as far as Catholic podcasts go for this kind of thing.
I like to think we are. That's what I'm gonna report.
Let's just tell people that.
That's right. We're gonna just tell people that. Yeah, that's right. So people have been telling us things, and so that's why we take time for back chat. All right. This actually came to us from a user on YouTube called Upon the Altar, and this was the comment, and it really was just perfect, I think, for what we do to maybe explain a little bit about ourselves. Here's what he said. I appreciated some of the things discussed in this video, referring to an earlier episode, but I have a question. Why are Catholic priests and seminarians doing hour-long videos on things that have little to nothing to do with the faith? The Crystal Cathedral thing was interesting, but that was it. We need more people to reach out in this age of technology to teach the faith. My suggestion would be to leave the technology reviews to those on YouTube who already do so, but for Catholic Underground, let us hear about Catholicism. Your thoughts?
Well, I'm going to put it nicely and say that if by that token, then Father, you should stop eating dinner because food has nothing to do with the faith. So you should not waste your time consuming food.
Father Ryan, are you going to waste your time consuming food?
I already ate. So yeah,
he's off the trip. He ate already.
Well, I mean, I don't know that it has to be. Of course, obviously it's not an either or. But I think that most of what we do, while we do from time to time geek out and talk about things like 16-bit operating systems, I think most of the time we do try to at least bring around the notion of, how does this affect your faith? What does this have to do with real life? What does this have to do with faith? And finding where things intersect allows ordinary people to live their lives in a way that brings the faith in everything from flipping a light switch on to, getting stuck in traffic. All of those things can bring about virtue and can bring us closer to God. And so I definitely agree there's a place for more intense Catholicism. In fact, Father Chris and I have been talking about doing a show that is not faith, or that is not technology, but that is directly a faith show.
That's right.
But I don't know that there needs to be such a sharp distinction, especially in this day and age, especially because we're still on the bleeding edge of new media. It's not like this has been around for a long time. If somebody was doing a TV show on NBC, like what we're doing now, I think I'd be very confused, like our viewer. But it's new media. Relax, go with the flow,
and just to really, give a real comment. I think that with people for so long in the church, people have seen priests as superhuman
or unapproachable,
or non-human, or unapproachable. And so what we're trying to do is recognize that priests have real interests, besides
actual interests.
Yeah, for example, ask Father Chris. As a priest, everyone thinks you need another crucifix or a rosary.
That's right. Father Earthman has his model trains.
That's right.
Don't forget Footprints, the poem Footprints. I must have 815.
Father Chris almost never receives a religious gift from me simply because I know he has other interests that it seems like people think priests don't have real interest besides that. So I think it's relevant, especially since certainly the Holy Father, is using the internet, and I guarantee you everything he's looking up is not church related. There's only so much.
Who is this J-Lo? Sorry.
My point is that we have to recognize that, priests can't simply talk about the faith 100% of the time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, that they have real interests, and certainly these interests are good things that God created. And if that's the case, then, as a layperson, I certainly can speak about issues of faith, but I don't have to be relegated to speaking about only issues of faith as well. And certainly technology fits into that.
Yeah, and of course that's really the experiment of what we call the Catholic Underground, is to find the meeting place between our Catholic faith and technology and new media, and perhaps we fail in that sometimes, and we geek out a little too much.
Father Earthman is saying in the chat room that his family buys him gift cards to Fry's.
Yeah, Fry's is that great giant electronics store that we don't have in Louisiana, that we have to make a pilgrimage to go to. But the cool thing about being a priest is that God does not suck your gifts and talents away.
Right.
You aren't simply made into a Borg drone, but you actually able to allow your natural gifts and talents to flourish. And so part of what I do, part of what Father Ryan does, part of what Josh does, is we are trying, hopefully, to allow some of our gifts to flourish and to bring you the faith in a new way, the faith in a way that is a kind of a new and fresh presentation of the gospel from a perspective of people who happen to like technology.
I think the point is that you're not doing these things instead of teaching the faith. You're doing it in addition to.
That's right.
And if that's the case, then how can you find fault with that?
That's true. That's very true. Yeah. So we hope upon the altar that we answer your question. You can always let us know what you think, backchat at CatholicUnderground.com. We want to take a little bit of time, of course, now, as we come to the end of our show, for the CU Pick of the Week. And for the CU Pick of Safari, X marks for Safari, has been popping up on my computer, my soundboard computer, for every week now. And no matter how many times that I download X marks for Safari, the extension, it still just won't stop. So I don't know what to say. The only thing I can say is
the CU Pick of the Week.
There it is. Okay. Father Ryan, why don't you give us your pick of the week first? We're going to go to Josh, then to me, and then back to you.
It's kind of ironic in terms of upon the altar's comment, but here it goes.
Yeah.
In terms of something light and airy, because the last 5 or 6 picks of the week for me have been kind of heavy, I'm going to recommend Tiger Woods Pro Golf Tour 2011 for iPad. I got the game for 99 cents. It was on sale the day, and I actually golfed 8 under on St Andrews in Ireland, or in Scotland, or wherever St Andrews is.
Virtual St Andrews.
Yeah, and it's a fun little game. It's a nice, you spend 15 minutes, you golf around. It's got pretty good geometry and pretty good graphics, and it's kind of fun. And you get done, and you just turn it off because it's the iPad. So I think it costs $6.99 right now. It's on the iTunes store, but it's a lot of fun. And so if you just need some time killing stuff, just a little bit of time killing stuff, I recommend Tiger Woods Pro Golf Tour 2011 for iPad.
Very cool. Joshua?
Well, my pick of the week is actually a follow-up to one I picked a while back. If you recall, I talked about a pick of the week called Banana Tunes, which was in beta at the time, and it was software that allowed you to stream from your iPhone to your Mac computer. It basically mimicked an Airport Express. Well, that software is no longer in existence, and actually the author combined it with her software that she calls Banana TV, which will actually let you do the same thing, but it lets you do it along with audio. You can do it with video as well. So for those of you like myself, who in my living room, I have a Mac Mini connected to my television. I've got the software running on my Mac Mini, and I can stream from my iPhone through my television and home entertainment center and stream my music throughout the house. I don't have to sit there and dock it. I can carry my phone around with me and go, oh, I don't like this song, skip right through it. So again, it's not terribly expensive. I think it's $6.99. At bananatv.net, and you can download it, and it looks like you can install it on multiple machines for that price. I did experience a little problem with more than one machine in the same household. It seems like they might fight with one another.
Like beta fish?
Yeah, because whenever I would install it on one, the old machine would suddenly just dump off, and I couldn't see it anymore with my iPhone. And then whenever I would remove it from one machine, it would come back on the other. So I don't know how that's going to work. I don't know if it's something they're gonna fix on it, but I know for myself, I installed it on my Mac Mini, and it works great.
Very cool.
The only problem with it, and I will say this, is that the audio controls on your iPhone don't adjust the audio coming from your Mac Mini like it would do your Airport Express. So that seems to be something that maybe they need to look at and fix, but because that's a little aggravating that you actually have to go and grab a remote control or something to get the audio correct. But other than that, it seems like it's a great piece of software, Banana TV.
Very cool. Father Ryan turned me on to my pick of the week, and it was when I was up in the middle of nowhere visiting him. Of course, we both are in the middle of nowhere, so it's kind of, But Reader is the name of it. It is a Google Reader client, but it also does a lot. Anything with an RSS feed, basically, you can read. And Father Ryan knows very much that I usually don't use RSS readers because I like the Epicurean experience of visiting a web page. I like to see the graphics. I like to see how everything is laid out. And so Reader is really cool because it allows you to see the RSS feed, but then if you click a link, it goes within the Reader interface to the web page. So I can still have the best of both worlds of going through my different little articles, but also having the opportunity to go to the web page if I want to read it on the web, or if I just want to see what the web page looks like, because the design eye never lies; it always gets drawn to it. It syncs with Google Reader, and it syncs with Instapaper. Help me out, Father. It also syncs with a couple of other. Does it sync with Delicious yet?
I'm fairly sure it does Delicious. It does about 13 different apps.
Yeah.
It's extremely versatile.
You can save to Pinboard, Delicious, Zootool. You can post to Twitter. You can mail a link. You can, of course, use Instapaper Mobilizer and Google Mobilizer, which I've never used. I don't know what that is. But very, very cool. So it's $9.99, which is a lot for an RSS reader. But if you find yourself a person like Father Ryan who takes in a copious amount of data in one morning, I mean, I watched him. I watched him sitting at his computer, and he was just sitting there, binarying his way through. It was crazy. But I've actually learned that if I'm going to prepare for a show, if I'm going to kind of keep my finger on the pulse, then I've got to have a way to take that data in too, while still indulging my desire for design. So Reader's the way to do it. It cost me $10. It'll cost you the same, but it is very good. So that's my pick of the week, and we do have an Audible pick of the week as well, Father.
Indeed, we do. You've heard PitchBook Audible is a great sponsor for us. They really help us out a lot, and they help anybody out a lot who has a lot of time on their hands doing menial or boring tasks, like riding on an exercise bike or out raking the yard or getting in a car and driving for a long distance. And you're getting not just an audiobook from them, but you're also getting things like daily newspapers, speeches, historic moments, and magazines and other things as well. So this time, in honor of Brother Gregor Mendel's birthday, I'm going to recommend an easy audiobook. It's only an hour, and it's a good way to get a taste of audiobook reading. And that book is called Mendel and the Laws of Genetics. It's a good little read, and I enjoyed it thoroughly. You get that by going to audibletrial.com/Catholic Underground, and you're going to sign up for the Gold Plan. You're going to get 2 weeks free just to try it out and see what you think. And you're going to get a free audiobook just to see how it goes. If you do sign up for the Gold Plan, Audible is going to send us some money to help us continue doing what we're doing, and you're going to get one free audio every month, as well as a ton of other little side benefits that you're really going to enjoy. So I certainly recommend it. It's a good way to read if you don't like to read or don't have time to read. And so give it a try, audibletrial.com/Catholic Underground, and the book is called Mendel and the Laws of Genetics.
And those are our picks of the week. Let us know what your picks of the week are. You can do so backchat at CatholicUnderground.com. It's the best way to get in touch with us. If you want links to our Twitter feed, our Facebook page, or if you want to view our video throughout the week, you can go to CatholicUnderground.com without delay and find all of that. If you want more information, or if you want to register for Catholicon Expo 2011, coming up in really just a month's time.
That's right.
It's coming up real soon. You can go to CatholiconExpo.com. That's CatholiconExpo.com. Remember, you can also vote right now on the Catholic New Media Awards. We haven't won one yet.
No.
So maybe that's saying something, which is not
and
too shabby.
I run it.
Yeah, exactly. You'd think you could stack the votes or something, but no. That just shows you how honest Joshua is.
Or lazy.
Honest and lazy. That could be your moniker. You put that on a business card. Joshua LeBlanc, he was honest and lazy. I love it. So go to CatholicNewMediaAwards.com to cast your vote or to nominate. That's right. Nominations right now.
That's right.
Voting comes later. That's right. So joining us right here next to me, Joshua LeBlanc. He is the Cardinal Protector for the Pontifical Council for Patio Furniture and Decking at cybercatholics.com. He also preserves the patrimony of decking as well. And he's at JR LeBlanc on Twitter. Thank you, Joshua.
Well, I am titular of the Shays Lounge.
So. He is the titular Archbishop of the Shays Lounge. Yeah, the duvet is a different story. That's a whole different prelature. That's right. And Father Ryan's church is online at CampdyCatholicChurch.com, and all of his personal posts and all of the furniture he likes are probably listed on Twitter. He is at FR Humphreys. Thank you, Father Ryan.
It's been my pleasure.
Hasn't it?
It has, really.
Even though we've had to figure out several different ways to get you on the show because of the video. That's right. Con has nothing to do with it. Unfortunately, we could use a little advanced 23rd century technology. He might. That's true. And you know me. I'm Father Chris Decker. I'm a priest of the Diocese of Baton Rouge, and all of my posts are on Twitter at Digital Catholic. Thanks for tuning in and hanging out with us on this digital continent, quite specifically with Google. We are Catholic Underground, and we're faith gone digital. We'll see you next time.